Welcome to the Jodi and Jess Mad Mom and Daughter podcast, designed to inspire, uplift, and add a little motivation into your busy day. Here is the dynamic mom and daughter duo, Jodi and Jess.
Hello and welcome to the Jodi and Jess Mad podcast. I'm Jess Pushka.
And I'm Jodi Pushka.
And we are the Real Life Gilmore Girls.
Yes, we are.
For those of you who watch the Gilmore Girls, you know exactly what we're talking about. And for those of you who maybe have never seen the show, let me give you a quick background on what it is. Basically, the Gilmore Girls was a show that was on, maybe 10 years ago. And it's basically about Lorelai and Rory, who are mother and daughter, and they're best friends. They live in a small town, and they enjoy the simple things in life. But the big point is that they are best friends and mother and daughter, and everybody thinks that that's so rare and so weird, like that it's so cool that they're best friends.
And it's only TV, because that doesn't happen in real life.
But the weirdest thing is that many things that happened throughout the show, even though it happened 10 years ago, happen to us almost every single day. I mean, there are really weird, coincidences.
Like when Rory got hit by a deer.
Yeah.
No, she did not hit a deer. She got hit by a deer.
I got hit by a deer on my way to school a couple of years ago. He just ran out and rammed the side of my car, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is really happening right now.
And then we saw the episode, and we're like, no. We're like, it's like they have bugs in our house and they're following us.
Except 10 years ago.
I know, 10 years ago, but this just happened a couple of years ago. But yeah, all those little, the freaky little things, like the way Emily and Richard are Lorelai's mom and dad, and the way that Emily is very proud and very proper. And that's exactly like my mom. Yeah. She's really proud, proper person. And just the innuendos, like when Lorelai talks to her and how she's like, she'll make these quick comments and they'll go right over Emily's head or whatever. Like, she doesn't appreciate her laughter. And then Lorelai and Rory, like Jess and I, would look at each other and be like, well, we thought it was funny,
It's very true. So this episode is really for people who know who the Gilmore Girls are, because otherwise you may be a little bit lost. But yeah, even just talking about Lorelai and Emily, I think one of my favorite things is when she was actually talking to Richard and he complimented her or agreed with her, and he never agrees with Lorelai. And she's like, oh my God.
Your mother may be right.
Who heard that?
Who heard that?
That's like my favorite line.
And we do that all the time. Yeah. My mom will make some really great positive comment, and I'm just not used to hearing that. I grew up in a really humble household. So my mom will make some positive comment, and Jess and I will look at each other and we'll say, who heard that?
And of course, she just sits there and very much like Emily is like, what are you two doing? What are you talking about? You guys are
doing
weird.
That. Why do you guys think that's funny? So when people ask me all the time, how I do it all, and they always ask me about my number one accomplishment, I think, of everything I've ever done, they always say, what's the number one thing that you're most proud of? And I always tell everybody, my daughter, Jess. But no, truly, I'm a single mom, and I truly think that's my greatest accomplishment. And our relationship is something that people are always asking us about is, are you guys really like that in real life? Or is that just how you guys are on camera?
I think it's so hard. If you most parents or most child and parent relationships are strained in some way, and I think it's almost physically impossible to pretend to love each other. You can just feel it's fake if it is.
Oh, it is. It is. Oh, but what I was really going to say is the fact that a lot of people, as you grow up, and this is something I teach, but we're not going to get into this, but about our imagination. Our imagination, by the age of 35, 95% of everything is squashed. So basically, as people get older, they get drier and duller. And so sometimes they have a difficulty relating to somebody that's younger than them because they get set in their own ways. So you get these little neural connections, and they're set in their own way, and they're not going to change, like grandma, grandpa waking up early. You're never going to change that.
Who gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, yeah, they call us vampires. I mean, we like to go to bed at, 1 in the morning typically.
And they get up 4 hours later.
They do. But I think being able to really expand your imagination and really be able to have fun. And now there's a difference between being a kid and being juvenile or irresponsible. Okay, so I'm a super responsible person, but I enjoy and I allow my imagination. I allow myself to understand what Jess is thinking, and we just have fun. Not a day goes by that we don't laugh.
It's true.
It doesn't.
It's
Every
just
day.
something stupid. Like the other night, we were both like ready to go to bed, and I just like thought of something funny, and I went into my mom's room, and like we were both awake for some weird reason. It was like 1:00 in the morning, and we just started cracking up.
Oh,
like,
I itched my ear.
Yeah,
I itched my ear. We were swimming, and I came in, and I itched my ear, and then I itched. And we're going to play the sound effect for you after this, after I tell you what I did. I itched it, and it made this really high squeaky noise. And I looked at Jess, and I was like, did you hear that?
I'm like, yeah, what the frick was that? I thought you like rubbed your hand like on the wood of the headboard because it makes a squeaky noise.
No,
like that.
it was this really, really cool, like squeaky noise. And so like I had to do it again. So I just kept doing it again and just took out her.
Sounds like the running joke is that we have these birds that live in our house because of the vents. The vents exit the house.
They live in our vents.
So they build
yes.
nests in the tubing in our house. The point of me telling you that is we get awakened every morning by these birds that are chirp, 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 like that annoying, incessant chirping noise.
Yeah, and it's really high
The
pitched.
point of that, though, is that's exactly what your ear sound was.
It did. It
so
did.
I'm like, so you're the one who comes in my room in the morning and wakes me up.
Yes. So I sat there with my finger in my ear, going back and forth, chirp, 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 chirp. And we're like rolling on the ground laughing. And of course, Jess has to get out her phone and tape it. Like,
Well,
who
now
does that?
I can play it for you now, aren't you? So lucky.
So here you go.
Ready? Here we go.
Yeah, all right. So don't you agree? It sounds like a bird, right? It does, right? So, but I mean, stupid things like that, like we're always doing silly things. And might I clarify here, when I said we laugh together, I mean, Jess typically usually laughs at me like almost every day.
Funny gal, though. How do you not laugh?
know, like I'll just make a silly face or I'll say something or I'll just make an expression. And it's become a habit that I love to do silly things because it makes Jess laugh and we bust a gut. I mean, we literally bust a gut.
Yeah,
every
day.
single day, every day. And this is something that's really important. I'm just going to interject something here. When people talk with other people, you have a choice of how you want to communicate with them. You can choose to, talk negatively and kind of talk down to each other. You can choose how your conversation is going to go. I always tell people, you can laugh or cry. And I always choose laughter because it causes less wrinkles.
That's true.
It is. So the way you choose to communicate with your kids, the way you choose to communicate with others, that's what makes your life happy or sad.
So yeah, tying that back into what you were saying before about the maturity level, and it's not irresponsibility, but I think the reason that we get along, and people always ask us how we get along so well, is because my whole life, have always been more mature than kids my age. I've had trouble like communicating with kids my age. I've had always more ease talking with adults.
You're an old
because
soul. Right.
I was raised, it was just you and I. So because it was just you and I'm a little bit more mature. But then you also have the understanding of being able to kind of speak to me, or you had the ability to speak to me at my level as a kid. So it's like we're both like, I'm more mature, you're maybe a little
more immature,
but in a good way. But I think that's why we get along, is because we talk to each other on that same level.
We have to clarify. I'm a mom. I'm very mature.
No, I know.
But I'm able to be lighthearted with you.
Yeah,
I'm able to get on your level.
Right. I think the point I'm just trying to make is that we're on the same level. And I think that's why we get along so well. Most parents are, they think that they're 10 levels ahead of their kid. And if you have that mentality, you're always going to talk down to your kid.
Most parents do.
Yeah.
Instead of listening to the child and like when you would come home and, you had this epiphany and you're like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about the sky being blue. And, I would come back and I reinforce the fact that you are awesome. How smart you are. And that I would know that I appreciated, your intelligence. And I think that a lot of parents don't do that. Like kids will say something and they'll kind of push them down and they'll be like, oh, that's dumb. Or, they just don't give them validation. And then becomes that big roadblock that, kids stop telling their parents things. And then, the older they get, they don't want to tell them things. But I think that's where you and I really excelled.
Yeah, definitely. And if you watch the Gilmore Girls and you are familiar with the show, you know that that's exactly what Rory and Lorelai do. I mean, they tell each other everything, and that's always reiterated. You can tell me anything. And then when it comes to the point where Lorelai has to tell her, I am your best friend, but I'm also your mom. I mean, that's really how we are too. I think it's not that my mom is my best friend first and my mom second. Like, it's pretty simultaneous, and that's why it's such a unique relationship.
Yeah, we just have that connection. You know how twins finish each other's sentences?
Yeah, that's us. It's really, really strange, and I think we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but we'll be sitting there watching TV, and then all of a sudden at the exact same time, we'll say the exact same thing, to the point where sometimes we don't even hear the other person say it because it happens at the exact same time.
No, and it might be something like, like strange balls or like some, weird.
I've literally never said that in my life. Where did you
know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of like
any use that from now on.
Any strange balls. But, just like that, we said it at the same time. That's the point I'm trying to make. And then we always laugh. And then we look at each other. We're like, you could have picked any word in this entire English language, and that was the word you chose. And you had to say it at the exact time, exact way, with the exact inflection. And we do that every day.
Every day. And I often wonder, I'm like, why does that happen? And I think that a lot of that came from, it literally was just you and I. I was raised with just you. And
right.
Spending
genetics.
all that time together.
Right.
Not only genetics, but like being a product of your environment, like picking up on your cues. Like the only person I was ever able to like imitate or like, reflect in your inflections was you. So I think that's why we're so
that's the good old nature nurture debate.
Yeah. So
no, it's true.
No, definitely.
Really, we do become who our parents are, and that's what a lot of people, I think, as they get older, what their parents did and what they want to do are often really different. And that's when they start to, have a lot of anxiety and stress because they want to start thinking and feeling a different way. And that's why a lot of kids rebel.
I think that's interesting though, because most kids become their parents in terms of parenting styles. They kind of parent the same way. And like Lorelai and Emily, like because Lorelai maybe wasn't best friends with her mom and she wanted to be best friends with her mom, so she became best friends with her daughter. She chose to do that, and that's what you did with me too. You was friends with your mom, but like you chose to be best friends with me, and that was so cool.
It was a conscious decision.
Right.
And just like I said before, you can laugh or cry. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because the way that I brought you up, I made the conscious decision to never spank you. Back in the 60s, 70s.
That was the punishment.
Yeah, getting spanked was the punishment. And I said to myself, oh my God, I hated that so much. And I always thought of it as, it's not a good way to bring a child up. And so I wanted to have the utmost respect for each other. And I know that respect breeds respect. So if you're nice to somebody, they're going to be nice to you. If you're respectful to your child, they're going to be respectful to you. And I guess why we're here is showing people, you're truly my 22-year case study, that kindness and patience and love, it pays off because our foundation is so strong. We have concrete and there's nothing that can infiltrate that concrete. But a lot of parents, they bring up their kids, or not even parents, just in relationships, husband and wife, partner and partner, whatever it is, they have this relationship that's built on the foundation of sand. And so it can wash away, it can be faltered. And when they don't trust each other, that's why their relationships really falter. So I think what we're talking about here is not only the Gilmore Girls, but really laying down and establishing that really awesome cement foundation with somebody to be able to have that deeper relationship, and being mindful about the little things, being able to not be so heavy-hearted all the time, but be lighthearted and be able to have fun. And if you make that choice, your relationships will be like ours.
And I feel very blessed that you were always there for me. And, even observing other parents, the one thing that I see that's very different is that, you spent every waking moment with me because that's what you loved to do. And maybe some parents, they need their time away.
Yeah, you're right. Parents do need their time away, but a lot of times, like swimming, like the parents aren't even interacting. They're
just sitting there playing on their phones or doing whatever. And like, granted, I understand that people are busy, but I think that's really what makes or breaks that relationship. If you want to have a great relationship like ours, that's kind of a defining factor, like being in the moment and really watching your kids grow up and not missing those precious moments.
That's it.
That's what's so important.
86,400 seconds. That's what everybody has within a day. So people always ask me, how do you get so much done? How do you do so much? Well, we have the same amount of time as anybody else does, but you hit it right on the head. You said spending the time and doing what it is in the moment. So be it with your kids, your pets, your family, your coworkers, your partner, whoever it is with, you really need to enjoy that moment. Laugh.
Yeah.
You've got the choice to be negative or positive. We talked about this before. Negativity is a baseline emotion. It's the easiest emotion of all. Positivity takes more energy because it's not baseline. It's like a gift. So if you consciously tell yourself, I'm going to be happy today, you know what? You're going to be happy today.
That's right.
So, and that's what you need to do. You need to set that parameter, prime your brain for a little success. Tell yourself, hey, this is what I'm going to do when I go home tonight. And now, it doesn't always work. Just remember, because because you're in a positive mood doesn't mean the other person is. And if you're used to having this relationship back and forth of negativity, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to start having a relationship of positivity. But it's a start, and everybody needs to start someplace. We're not always happy. I do a lot of high stress things, and when you're in school, you're stressed out. So we're not always happy. I mean, we have a lot of struggles that we endure.
I think it's really important to make the distinction, though, that yes, we do have very stressful lives, but we have the ability, and this is what I think most people need to learn how to do, is we have the ability to separate ourselves from that situation and we have like work and we can talk about it, but then we also have our time to ourselves, and our time to ourselves is what's always positive and happy. Like you can like leave your work behind you and come into our happy time alone, and we're always happy during that time.
Oh, and I just have to interject with a little training, because this is something that I have taught Jess since she's been little, to think in colors. A lot of people can't see something in their brain. They just don't understand, like, how is this going to happen? So what I tell people is, if you can't really understand how this is going to work within your brain to start with, start thinking in colors. Start thinking of that negative situation as the color black. Now, going home, seeing your pets, talking with somebody you love, that's the color white. So it's really important that when you're at work and you're really stressed out, you leave that color black at work. You come home to your white world and you keep it white. You change and be positive and try to be happy. Don't bring the black home, because what happens if you mix black with white?
You get gray.
Yep, you get gray. And then people start living these lives that just aren't happy, and then their family's affected because they have this gray all around them. So they understand something's wrong at work, and so it's affecting their relationship. And so I tell people, start separating things, compartmentalize the black with the black, the white with the white, and your life won't turn gray. We always try to do something to lighten the mood, like Jess has her study buddy, Grace. Grace is 16 years old.
Yeah, and Grace is my kitty. That's right. I have a 16-year-old study buddy, Kitty, who's been with me since I was, probably 6 years old.
Yeah, since you were like first grade, kindergarten,
yeah,
right?
So she always lays on the table and likes to lay on my homework and make sure that I take a break, which is very nice and considerate. I appreciate that.
But when you're really stressed out,
yeah,
she seems to feel that.
Yeah, so then she just lays on top of my papers, and I'm like, oh, Grace. Like,
or she'll grab your pen.
Doing this. But like, it always makes me stop and like appreciate, that she's there, and just to take a moment reminds me to, relax a little bit. It's not the end of the world. It's just homework, or, it's just a test, or, it's not the end of the world. Unlike my brain told me all through high school and college.
I know. It's so true. But, like in the Gilmore Girls, Lorelai got Paul Anka because Rory was gone for a while. I just want to really encourage people, get a dog, get a pet. If you don't have one, get one. Not only is it the most selfless thing you'll do because you have to take care of another person or another little animal, it actually physiologically reduces stress. So
yeah, petting an animal really reduces your cortisol levels, and the cortisol is what, causes stress, and those elevated can make you feel very tense, and just by simply petting an animal, that is like pet therapy, and they do have pet therapy, they bring dogs into hospitals, and it really helps people who have elevated anxiety, and it is proven that if you just simply sit down and you pet your animal, it lowers your blood pressure, which in return lowers your stress.
Yeah, so that's why we have like quite a few pets in this house. We have a really big house though, so we have 3 stories, and so they have their own little bachelor pad in the basement. So at night, everybody goes into their little bachelor pad, and we've got little boxes and houses and beds, and I mean, our downstairs is finished, and it's a pet room.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know, pets are amazing, and our newest pet was our Sphinx Dobie. And I know we talked a little bit about this before, but they're hairless Sphinx because I am hairless myself. So if anybody's ever seen Dr. Evil on Austin Powers, yes, just like Mr. Bigglesworth with our Belle is pink with blue eyes, just like him. But it's so awesome watching your pet. And, you know, when you're really stressed out, instead of thinking about, you know, the thing that's stressing you out, if you watch your pet and watch the funny things they do, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and then talking about our newest addition, Dobie, he's only like 8 months old, so he's like super silly, and like I find the most joy just like watching him be a kitten. Like I'll go up to him and he'll just like jump like 10 feet in the air because he gets scared by my very presence, and like it's just like
or you're
it's just
working
funny.
and he wants your attention and he'll just look at your eyes and like with those, you know, those big, if you've ever seen Shrek and Puss in Boots.
Yes. That's exactly what he does. He sits there and he looks at you and he gives you the guilt trip, like, please pick me up. But it's just like the little things that they do that make you happy. If you don't have a pet and you are interested in getting one, I do highly suggest it. I'm definitely an advocate for
Even a
getting a
goldfish.
pet. Yeah.
Watch your
definitely.
goldfish, interact with your goldfish, feed them and watch them come to the surface, and then train them that when you feed them, you put your finger in there. So every time you put your finger in there, they come up and they give you a kiss, which theoretically they're trying to eat you. They're little baby sharks trying to eat you, but they can't. But no, I mean, seriously, it makes life so much happier, and then you have that responsibility of taking care of them. So, you know, it gives people purpose and gives them something to do. So, hey, I got to go home. I got to let the dog out. Hey, I got to go home. I got to feed the cat. It gives you a purpose beyond just being narcissistic and taking care of yourself. It's kind of opening up and also experiencing that absolute self-love, which I think everybody.
And always remember, if you're worried about not being able to take care of a pet, if Lorelai can do it, so can you.
That's right.
It's like when Rory asked her, she's like, you got a dog? And she's like, don't worry, it's still alive.
It's still alive? I fed it. Well, if you don't feed it, you mean Babette comes over? Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Well, maybe.
I got a dog.
What?
Stop, he's fine.
He's alive?
Yes, he's alive, and I'm not discussing that hamster again.
But you asked Babette to double check that you feed it in the morning?
That is so not necessary, and yes.
So I think the moral of the story here was life is truly what you make it be. It really is. And if you want to have a better relationship, it's not really all about the time or how much time you invest with somebody. It's about the quality of those moments that you share together.
It's not the quantity, it's the quality.
It
That's
is.
for sure.
It is. Although Jess and I have had the quantity together, and anything that I've done, like when I go out on speaking engagements, you know, Jess gets to come with me, and
Yeah, I always get to film and maybe even go up there and participate in some exercises. And yeah, just even spending that time together is really beneficial.
it was. And when I was on American Inventor, I couldn't wait. They came back and we were able to film, you know, part of the show together. And I think that was so cool. And then we were on Lifetime TV's Health Corner, and they came and they did our story. And that was really neat to be able to have Jess on there. And I mean, we've been like the Discover Wisconsin clip that we did in M Magazine and everywhere from Forbes Entrepreneur to every news channel you've been on. We share our happiness and our simple living techniques with people. And, you know, we've helped tens of thousands of people over the course of the past, 22 years, really the past 11 since I was a top finalist on ABC's American Inventor TV show. But we get asked all the time, like, how do you do it? So we put together a 10-minute training mini course because we want to really help people understand how to eliminate their own internal negative conflicts. And that's basically when your negative self-talk tells you can't do something. Remember, you have the choice to either be positive or negative. You also have the choice to reduce your anxiety, your stress, your overwhelm. And you have the ability, no matter what your circumstances, you can actually live your life by your design and not just living it by default, meaning just going through the motions. So we encourage you to join our 10-minute training mini course. take a peek at it, see what it's about.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, that is a free mini course, absolutely no charge to you, and you can access it at any time, take it with you anywhere on all your devices, and complete it at your own pace. For as long as it takes you, it will be there for you. And we also have our Retrain Your Brain 101 introductory course for people who are looking to kickstart their new journey to success, but maybe they're not fully ready to commit. They're just exploring. This is the perfect course for you.
It's the beginning of our Retrain Your Brain to Master It All full course. And this is a program that's based in science. It's made simple. It's not easy, but it's made simple, and we guarantee that you're going to have results. It's going to really help you be able to take measurable daily action towards reaching your goals. You're going to focus on your positive beliefs and habits. And those are two things that a lot of people don't focus on. And it's an 8-week intensive that really helps you, leave your fears behind. And we are going to help send you on your path to success. Remember, a dream is just a goal without a plan. So we help show you how to take that plan and put that plan into actionable daily goals. And guess what? You are going to have the life that you've always dreamed of living.
So if you're interested in our programs, the Retrain Your Brain 101 introductory course or the full course, the Retrain Your Brain to Master It All, there's more information on that on our website. That's jodijess.com. That's JODIJESS.com.
And we hope you join us, especially for the free training. You have nothing to lose, right? So we look forward to seeing you on our next show. And I just want everybody out there, please remember one thing. You only have one life to live.
So make it the best life possible. Thank you again so much for listening to us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Jodi and Jess Mad Podcast. Want more inspiration in your life? Please visit jodijess.com. That's JODIJESS.com. Or follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Jodi Jess Pod. JODIJESS Pod.